You know, you mentioned the word bubble, and every year around this time, probably for the last 12 or 13, I get the UBS bubble index, and Toronto's at or near the top, and I find myself always trying to explain the difference between a bubble and exuberance in a fundamentally strong market that has some of the features that you talked about, right? The strong demand side and the supply bottlenecks that we continue to see. So, and we're going to talk a lot about that on the panel, but one of the questions I guess I had for you is, you know, how do you see the next, everything you've described, this glut of supply against this very robust demand, do you see that resolving itself in more of a repricing where some of these inflationary pressures that have pushed up construction costs to such a high level start to come down and you're starting to see builders have more acceptable margins? Or do you see prices gapping up again? And do you have an opinion on that?
Yes, I do believe that construction costs will go down over the next 6 to 8 months. Labor costs starting to go down, starting to be a bit more available because of the cancellation of other projects. I think that the supply chain story will improve, so getting windows from China will be a bit easier. So that's a good thing. That would be not huge, but better than it was over the past 2 years. That's something to look forward to. But overall, I believe that when you talk about correction and bubble and all this nonsense, I suggest that we have to look at the fundamentals. If you have prices rising by 46% in 2 years, you know that something will have to give. Otherwise, we are in a bubble, as I said. And therefore, the way I see it, the decline that we are witnessing now is a reset. It's basically allocation of activity over time. We accelerated activity during COVID, and now we are slowing down, and that makes sense to me. Higher interest rates help to do so. That makes sense to me. So this market will continue to go down, but the fundamentals of this market means that we have huge shortage of supply, and we are underestimating demand. Let me just give you one number quickly.
Yeah.
Underestimating demand. You know, people look at the households and demand for rent, for example. I'll give you an example. Let's assume that you are a student in Toronto, and your parents live in Montreal. Census Canada comes to you and say, by the end of the academic year, are you planning to go back to your parents' house for the summer? And you say yes. The minute you say yes, you don't exist as far as they are concerned, because you belong to your parents' household, despite the fact that for 10 months you consume real estate in Montreal. That's hundreds of thousands of people searching for units that nobody's counting. So whatever the supply issue that we have, it's actually worse. And it's all about policy, smart policy, and we are moving way too slowly, unfortunately.
Well, I have good news. We have a panel that can solve those problems, so we're going to be careful with that. Thank you, Benjamin, for everything. Fantastic.